Hello, and thank you for joining us on the edition of Gombe's Transformative Journey. Today, we have a packed, interesting episode for you. We'll start off by reviewing some of the major activities and events during the past week. And after that, our focus and our major interview would be with the Chief of Staff to His Excellency Governor Yahaya, Abubakar Inuwa Kyari. He is an experienced administrator, a politician of note, and he's been at the back of the governor, supporting him, helping him to achieve all the monumental achievements that people are currently witnessing in Gombe. We'll be meeting him shortly. Alaji Inuwa Kyari. He doesn't like the title, but I just choose to use it either way, out of honor and respect to him. He's going to be sharing with us some of the vision and ideas of His Excellency and the reason why he takes some of the toughest decisions in transforming Gombe from the civil service to the political structure to infrastructure, and also his bid to leave a lasting legacy in Gombe and make sure that the generations unborn would remember his name and see the foundations he has laid for them. Thank you very much. To think about it, apart from being a politician, you actually act so much like a comrade, so much like, should I say, like an activist, someone who is more into people than politics.
I've been a progressive all my life, even my days in the private sector. When I was working in the financial services industry, I've always been a progressive-minded person. So we take it up from there, and no titles.
Is that why you decided to leave the comfort of Abuja and Lagos, or probably even the UK, and to come back home to serve your people?
Well, basically that is it. It's all about service to the people, and that's what we grew up seeing our parents do, and I feel we need to give back to the society where we were born and bred.
But this seems to, like, you're just echoing what Governor Yahaya says every time I speak with him. That it's not about the office, it's about the people. It's about what you can use the office to do for your people. Do you think that that's probably what connects you and the governor, that you are like minds in your
we
progressive
share the same
ideas?
vision, we come from the same upbringing, the same background, we share the same values. So basically, we think alike, let me put it that way.
Beautiful. But think about it. When the Governor Yahaya contested in 2011, maybe the primaries, then contested in 2014, 2015.
Yes.
I know you've been with him all this while, and then 2019 when he came into office.
Yes.
The vision, can you share with us some of the primary things that drove the movement to ensure that you got power and you served the people? Can you share with us some of the foundational vision?
Well, basically, I was not with him in 2011 because he was in the PDP, I was in the ACN. So we were in different parties, but based on our relationships, we shared his vision, his thinking, what he wanted to do for Gombe, and it was all about Gombe. So I would say yes, right from the beginning, it was about getting a new Gombe that we'll all be proud of. And I will tell you one thing, there has never been a governor in the history of Gombe State that knows Gombe like the back of his palms. He knows the nooks and crannies of Gombe. He has lived all his life here. He has been a businessman, and he knows everywhere. He has been into so many sectors of the economy, agriculture, trading, manufacturing. So he knows the in and outs of Gombe. So he came with a vision where this is somebody that has lived with the people all his life. He knows what touches the masses, particularly the common man. And his vision is, how do I improve the well-being of the common man and the generality of our people in Gombe? That has been the setting. We started this movement of bringing a new Gombe, transforming a new Gombe. And that is what we are seeing today.
You know, when he came on board, he set out some very clear vision. One, to reform the civil service. The second one, to establish lasting infrastructure in all aspects, roads, water, and all those things. I remember one of the first things he did was to visit the Danukowa water treatment plant, visit the water board, visit the specialist hospital immediately from the stadium. So I'm putting all those things under infrastructure because health infrastructure, water infrastructure, road infrastructure, and all these things to make sure that the people have a better life. We're looking at almost 5 years now into that. We're going to be 5 years in a few months. How far have you gone in some of these critical sectors?
Thank you. I will tell you, we've gone very, very far, very far. When we came into office, we met a lot of issues on ground. We had a very, very bad debt profile that was incurred by successive governments. Our critical infrastructure, particularly in education and health, were in a state of disrepair. And what Governor Mahmoud Yahaya did immediately was to conduct a needs assessment. And this needs assessment was a thorough job that was done across the 114 wards of the state. We went and found out what are the critical needs of our people in those 114 wards. That study was brought back, and that was what formed the bedrock of how we took up the administration. As I speak to you now, in all the 114 wards, we have fully functional primary healthcare facilities. In all the 114 wards. And we have remodeled our general hospitals. We now have 4, one in each of the senatorial zones and one in Gombe. Fully functional, standardized general hospitals, fully equipped. Then when you go to the education sector, we declared a state of emergency, if you could remember, because absolutely. The state of our schools, the classrooms, and different infrastructure was in total disrepair. So we had to now declare a state of emergency. As I speak to you now, we have constructed over 1,400 classrooms. 1,400, either newly constructed or remodeled. 1,400 across the states.
Wow.
That's what we've done. And by the time you look at the index, the number of students that have passed GCE, NECO, the percentage when we met was less than 20%. We're talking about 60, 70% now. So we've already been able to put those standardized positions in those areas.
So measurable impact that is tangible.
Tangible, that you could see, you could feel, that directly affects our people.
Okay. Yeah. So because when we talk about over 1,000 classrooms, let's even say we have 30 pupils or students in a classroom, that's about 30,000 children being affected directly by the remodeling, better environment, better access to education, and also better learning environment. I've also seen some of the libraries, some of the computers, some of the learning tools, even to the Almajiri children. Even, can you speak a little about that?
Yes, particularly the Almajiri, the BESDA program. The Almajiri program, we had a lot. I think we had, over the figures we had, I think about 700 or 400, I'm not too sure, out of school children.
That's 700,000, yes.
Yes, something like that, 700,000. And the governor, in his wisdom, took it upon himself that these Almajiri children have to be now properly brought together, have properly functional schools equipped where they could learn the Quranic education along with other skills and even basic Western education. That is why we embarked on this massive building of the Almajiri schools. We have the largest here in Gombe, which was commissioned by the Sultan himself, which is fully equipped with skills acquisition center, bedrooms, all facilities you could get in a standardized school. And that is what we've been trying to replicate across the state, even though not on that magnitude, but on a smaller magnitude. Now, if you go around Gombe, you rarely see Almajiris roaming around the streets asking for food or anything. We've been able to streamline that and get them back to school.
That's a major achievement. That's a major achievement. I also know that there's also reforms in the civil service, the biometric signing in to reduce the incidents of workers who don't come to work, who probably even live in Abuja or Lagos and stay on the state government salary. I also know that pensions are being paid. Recently, the governor even approved the payment of pensions, and checks were publicly distributed. Would you talk about the civil service reform a little?
Yes. When we came into office, Governor Yahaya realized we had an overbloated payroll. We had, I think, almost 80% of our revenue goes to paying salaries and allowances, which is not sustainable. We had a civil service that is larger than Kaduna State.
Wow.
Gombe is just 11 local governments. The number of civil servants we had on the payroll is larger than that of Kaduna State.
That's like twice or three times larger than
Gombe. 3 times. This is not sustainable. Like you rightly said, we had a lot of people on the payroll that do not even come to work. Some are resident in Kano, Kaduna, Abuja, even in Lagos, Port Harcourt. So there was no way this could be sustained. And the governor, in his wisdom, decided to now clean up the payroll system and introduce the biometric system, which I think is the best way for us to assess what we really need in terms of providing services to people. You do not expect people to be paid for not doing anything. The days of the government being a welfareist body is over. You cannot be paying people for doing nothing. The resources coming to government are very little, and the demands, the competing demands, are just so much that even the revenue coming from government to government will not be able to sustain that. So we've been able to do that. And in terms of even the size of governments, what we've been able to do is we've reduced the number of ministries. We've reduced the number of political appointees. So it's like a whole...
It's across board. Across board.
With leakages and loopholes have all been plugged so that we get value for money and service given to the people at the minimum cost.
I was with the governor in his office about a week ago, and I saw files. He goes through everything. And he said he wants to make sure that every single dime, every single kobo is utilized properly for the good of the people. And people say that he's very careful in the allocation of resources and of money. Is this to curtail waste?
Well, as you know, his professional background, he's an accountant. And the general saying is that accountants are very, very meticulous people when it comes to finances. But most importantly, the basic mantra of Governor Yahaya is, I swore to deliver on this mandate without fear or favor and to the utmost of my ability. So his conscience is always that one day I'm going to be called to account for each and every kobo that came into government and how it was expended.
So what's the plan for the planned local government elections? We know that the State's Independent Electoral Commission has brought out, given a date, and I think the political parties are already gearing up to participate in the election. So what are the plans?
Well, the parties have conducted their primaries. All the political parties have conducted their primaries. They've submitted their list of candidates to the State Independent Electoral Commission. And basically, I'll talk about our own party.
The Progressive Congress.
The APC, I'll talk about our own party. The various local governments and the wards conducted their primaries, even though it was not a full-blown primaries. All our candidates emerged through consensus, and it was done peacefully. The various constituting wards were able to come together and were able to choose their councillors. And then at the local level, local government level, they've been able to choose their candidates for chairmanship of the local government. And like you know, the APC is a very big family. We've been able to have our candidates emerge through consensus, and we've submitted our list of candidates to the electoral body. So we are ready for the election. I'm very sure we are going to win the election, either 98 or even 100%, because there is no political party that can match us. Our record is there on the ground for people to see. The people of Gombe have seen what we've done over the last 4 years. Never in the history of Gombe State has so much been achieved in 4 years.
Gombe has enjoyed relative peace. What have we done right? What has Governor Yahaya done right?
Fundamentally, prayers and the grace and mercy of God Almighty is number one.
Yes, absolutely. But he apparently has done more than that.
No, I said fundamentally the first is that. Secondly, Governor Muhammad Yahaya takes security very, very, very seriously. And he has been able to provide all the necessary support to the security agencies in order for them to conduct and do their jobs properly. But beyond that, we've also gone down the line. We've been able to bring on board the district heads, the emirs and chiefs. We've been able to model a way of community policing. We've been able to engage the traditional leadership into being very vigilant, into collaborating and working with the security agencies, and also the general populace too. We've been able to sensitize them on the need to be watchful and to report any incidences they feel is going to affect the peace that we enjoy in Gombe. So basically, the governor has been able to have an approach that is, I would say, three-way approach, both down the ladder to the people, to the traditional leadership, then the political leadership, and then the security agencies. And we've been able to collaborate jointly together. And with, like I said to you, prayers and that leadership that he's been able to provide, God has been able to make Gombe a very, very peaceful state. And we pray that will continue.
Will continue. Okay, one of the biggest achievements of His Excellency has been in attracting or creating an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. Basically, it's about encouraging entrepreneurs, businessmen to know that their capital is safe in Gombe. Gombe is safe. Gombe is open for business, and just creating that mental frame of mind in people that you can bring your money to Gombe and you will get all the support that you need to get, and your capital, your businesses are safe here. Do you also translate that to the adoption of the outsourcing initiative that Gombe actually championed by the federal government now, which the Vice President launched recently, just a few weeks ago? Then also talking about the industrial park, the mega motor park, and the other infrastructure that the government is laying on ground. Now, let's dovetail that into the state secretariat, which should also improve the civil service, the state secretariat to be constructed. What do you think that will be the greatest legacy of Governor Yahaya? Just not talking about the business climate, which will grow, but his legacy in a larger context of it.
Well, I will tell you, for 2 years consecutively now, Gombe has emerged the best in the ease of doing business in the country. And among so many other firsts, fiscal responsibility, and so many indexes that have been mostly done by reputable accounting firms such as Price, Waterhouse, and what have you. All these, where they say figures don't lie and facts don't lie. The governor's vision has always been to transform Gombe into a model subnational in the country, where you could come, do business, live life, and enjoy and explore your potentials or whatever you want to achieve as a Nigerian. That has been his vision. And he has been doing this coming from a background of a businessman. That is why you see Gombe. Businesses keep coming in, keep flourishing, and keep growing, creating that enabling environment where government needs to provide whatever support to private businesses to live. And with private businesses, that is where the economy of a state will grow, everything will flourish. Going back to the legacy you're talking about, if you notice in the 20-something years of Gombe being in existence, over 25 years now, so we don't have a functional state secretariat. Most of our ministries are being accommodated in rented houses, rented accommodation.
Yes.
The High Court complex, if you know the way it is dilapidated. The House of Assembly, likewise.
It's not befitting at all.
Now, one of the major legacies Governor Mahmoud Ibrahim wants to keep and put on the pedestal of the state is having strong institutions. To have a befitting state secretariat where all our ministries, department, and agency will be properly accommodated. That is one. Two, a befitting High Court complex where the judiciary will function. Then three, a State House of Assembly complex where the legislature will be able to do its job properly. That way, we have what we call the three arms zone. You have the judiciary, the legislature, and the executive. That is one of the major legacies Governor Mahmoud Yahaya is going to leave for Gombe State. But most importantly, if you notice, we've not had any major flooding issue in Gombe State over the last 4 or 5 years.
Yes.
The issue of the gully erosion that has bedeviled Gombe State for centuries, God willing, has been tackled by the governor. What we have now, if you notice the massive job that is being done to curtail the gully erosion is unimaginable.
Yes,
unimaginable.
From Acrisal and the project before it.
So these are the major legacies, God willing, Governor Mahmoud Yahaya will leave behind. And I know by May 2027, when he leaves, Gombe State will be better than he ever met it, and Gombe State will be very, very proud of a son that had come to office and did what no other person has ever done for Gombe State.
But let's look at his leadership of the Northern Governors Forum.
Yes.
When your colleagues choose you to be first amongst equal, to set the pace, it shows a lot of confidence, it shows a lot of maturity and political sagacity for governors at that level to choose one of them to say, okay, you be our spokesperson, you be our leader. That gives a level of credence to him, you would say. Then it also gives him a bigger role to play beyond Gombe. Thinking of the fact that the Northern Governors Bloc is the largest, one of the most powerful blocs in politics of Nigeria, because it cuts across different political parties and different groups. And thinking of the challenges of Northern Nigeria today, that puts a lot of responsibility on his shoulders, and the need for him to bring solutions and collaborate. How do you think he's taking this responsibility?
Well, he's taking it very, very seriously. And like you rightly said, his colleagues saw his leadership qualities, saw those qualities that you need in a leader, particularly in the situation we find ourselves in the North right now. You need a leader who is proactive. You need a leader who is honest and sincere, who will look at the issues with beyond sentiments and find ways of collaborating with the federal government under the leadership of our President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu in bringing solutions to those serious problems, which the President is very, very, very concerned about. So the Northern Governors they were very, very meticulous, and they made the right choice. And he is taking this job seriously, and he has been traversing all over the place. You can see he goes to Abuja more often now than he did the last January, because of this onerous responsibility that is on his shoulders. And he's collaborating with his colleagues and even other governors in other regions on how to now find ways of finding solutions that are bedeviling the northern region. So he's taking it seriously, and so far so good. And God willing, with collaboration with the President and the federal government, I think we'll find solutions to our problems in the north.
I've not been known to give into flattery or to praise singing. As a journalist, you're expected to ask difficult questions and to be very critical. But I can say that you've done a pretty good job in your office in the last 5 years. And to a large extent, I think that the people of Gombe and those that you've worked with will give you credit for having helped your principal to succeed largely. It's really been a pleasure speaking with you. Every time I get to interact with you, it's always a pleasure and a time to learn also. And that's been our conversation with the Chief of Staff to His Excellency Governor Yahaya, who has been sharing with us the vision of the governor and also the ambition, the passion, the vision that drives him and that has led to some of these monumental achievements in Gombe. That's our offering on this episode of Gombe's Transformative Journey. Do join us again same time next week for another edition. But before then, you can watch this episode and other episodes on our social media platforms. I am Landry Hadiyemi.